This video is about Airbus engines are giving headaches to Air Canada and so many others. My name is Daryl Guberman. I am the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC. Not only is it the A220 aircraft that Airbus produces, but it is also the A320neo that also has engine issues. There was a company probably a year, almost 2 years ago, called AOG Technics that supplied parts and components to aircraft engines that were fudging documentation on at least 50 components that went critically into those airplane engines. We never heard anything about it. Did you? I have not. I'm a quality professional with over 40 plus years experience. Ladies and gentlemen, business owners, my fellow citizens, and those that fly a lot, business people, travelers, vacationers, you cannot have reliability if you don't have quality. If you don't have quality, you end up like Boeing. Airbus, in I think it was 2020, got fined almost $4 billion for bribing companies about getting their aircraft in. Airbus wants to try to take the lead from Boeing. Well, I'm going to say this. With their new CEO at Boeing's helm, called Robert Kelly Oatberg, he is the former CEO, and I want you to listen to this close. Those people who are flying, Daryl, I really don't give a damn. Of course you don't. When the plane goes down, just get an insurance policy for your relatives so that they can collect it on you. That's all I'm going to say. I'm a quality professional with over 40 plus years experience. I gave Boeing's directors, board of directors, 11 of them, my CV, my experience. I've got more experience than David Calhoun, who's making $32 million. He's going to get a $14.9 million exiting bonus probably for his bullshit. And that comes from their board of directors, which are gone. They're not knowledgeable when it comes to what is the function and desire for Boeing. Boeing used to be a great company. They now placated our politicians with a 25% raise to the machinist union IAM 751. I called them last Friday and I left a voicemail. Did they ever get back to me? No, because like most unions in the aerospace industry, and don't let any of the union leaders, I'm going to tell you right now, they're in bed with management. Of course they are. Well, Daryl, I don't know. I don't want to hear this. You have issues with the A220 Airbus aircraft. You have issues with the A320. I am not an alarmist. I am a man who cares about you, ladies and gentlemen. I was at the Boeing actually the deposition from Sam Salipar on April 17th, 2024. Look me up, Daryl Guberman Boeing, DARYL GUBERMAN, Boeing, BOEING. I made international news more so than Sam Salipar. I went over to his lawyer, who I contacted before Miss Katz. She's not a lawyer, a charlatan. And by the way, Miss Katz, if you want to come after me, you ought to do something for Sam. Get in touch with me so you have a better case. The people from Ethiopian Air and Indonesian Air who I contacted, their lawyers, one lawyer from Ethiopian Air says, oh, you can't do that. Anzi Anab. You know why? Because Anzi Anab is involved with the American Bar Association. That lawyer was licking his chops because whatever Boeing gave those poor Ethiopian Indonesian airline passengers, whatever it is, they don't care, ladies and gentlemen. They really don't give a shit. These attorneys, I've got to say this. A good attorney knows the law. A great attorney knows the judge. Just remember that. So I'm telling you about Airbus, and I'm going to leave it here because I've told you time and time again, if it's Boeing, don't get going. And I am a shareholder. I sent a 42-page document to 11 board members with 11 letters of recommendation. Did you hear from them? Neither did I. And I'm a shareholder. So shareholders of Boeing, if it's Boeing, don't get going. And I say this with full compassion. I say this after 40 plus years in quality. And I say this to you, ladies and gentlemen. Does anybody give a shit? Do you think Robert Kelly Oatberg, who is on board of Rockwell Collins, who sits on ANSI ANAB, who's the accreditation body of Boeing, that they force down your suppliers' throats? Wow. And I can name those names of those companies, and I'm going to. Because you know something? It's freedom of information. I have all of these companies' certificates, ANSI ANAB accredited, and we're going to expose it for the shysters that ANSI ANAB is. Joe Bathia, the CEO of ANSI ANAB, I will tell you his cash value. I'm going to tell you for 2015 because that was the biggest shock of all. Here's a naturalized citizen who, if he was back home, he would be pulling a wagon. You think that's defamation? But it's a fact. If you want to get me for defamation, Joe, make my day, because you tried to get me before with your guy down in Florida who filed bankruptcy for many thousands of dollars back in 2016. I'm not going to mention his name because I do not want this tick to get back at me, because that's what you sent. You don't have quality in ANSI. You have shit, like a Russ Cheney. You know what he said to me, ladies and gentlemen, Russ Cheney, when I exposed laboratory accreditation? He's the chairman. So he's the leader, and you have, at that time, it was David Calhoun of Boeing, and it was also Jim Tassett. I mentioned those aerospace companies, okay? And Russ Cheney called me up when I exposed this, and he said, called me up, left me a message, half a nut, fuck you. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Patrick Shanahan, the CEO of Spirit Aerospace Systems now, and he was a 30-year employee of Boeing, and he was the Deputy Secretary of Defense for Donald Trump. That's what he said about the F-35 fighter that Lockheed makes, where Jim Tassett sits. He said it's fucked up, the program. Not only is it fucked up, but after their 801st ship, they're still producing junk. They're still producing junk. I just read a report, 821 rejections on the F-35 that was produced. Can you imagine that? And they all laugh at their golf outings and their champagne. I don't laugh. 348 human beings died under Robert Kelly Oatberg's watch. 348. And you have the DOJ who signed Boeing a get out of jail free card by $250 million. They fined them supposedly for they said that the Boeing lied to the FAA about the MCAS system. No, Boeing did not have to tell the FAA about the MCAS system because they were made FAA regulators in 2009. You can't make this up. And then after all those planes crashed, you had a spokesperson for the FAA come out and say, he says, the FAA would never allow any company to police themselves or self-certify. And let me tell you about the DOJ. This is really fucked up. Merrick Garland should be fired tomorrow. Tomorrow. Let him go on Friday, as a matter of fact, if Biden was full of his cognizant, but he's not. Oh, my God. The DOJ sits on ANSI ANAB's board, which is the accreditation body of Boeing that they mandate on their suppliers and subcontractors. The DOJ is not just a member on the board, but they're a customer of ANSI ANAB. DHS is a customer of ANSI ANAB. The Department of Commerce is a customer of ANSI ANAB, and the FDA is as well. The DHS and Department of Commerce have two employees that sit on ANSI ANAB getting salaries. DHS, $262,000. Department of Commerce, NIST, gets $160,000. We have all the data. Tax-free plus their government salary. What kind of shit is going on here, ladies and gentlemen? And you know something? Airbus has problems. They want to be number one. They got fined for bribing companies almost $4 billion in 2020. Look it up. 203-556-1493 or Daryl, tqrs@yahoo.com. These companies are done. They are terrible. I would never fly. Never fly. But it's up to you. Daryl, that's okay. I don't care. I'm going to go see my daughter. I'm going to go there. Just leave your insurance policy to me. Because you know something? Or leave it to a family member. Because you know something? You don't know who inspected those parts. Airbus has problems. A220 and A320. Good luck.